Hello guys, Nigel back here with you, Nigel's Modelling Bench, and we're in between Christmas and New Year now, so I just wanted to say a big sort of Happy New Year to you all, and I hope you had a lovely Christmas. Right, so if you remember a couple of weeks back I reviewed this set of masks here from One Man Army, and they are a beautiful set of masks for all your livery and everything, and all your stencils and everything. And the one thing I think that people were most interested in was the stencils, because they're absolutely incredible and you can get that proper painted on look. As a result of that review, I've been informed that they're sold out everywhere. So thanks guys for buying them. So that's very, very good of you. And I know they're not particularly cheap, but they are particularly good. So, and I know that a lot of you don't like vinyl masks. I did the review yesterday on these masks here. It's become Nigel's Masks channel, hasn't it? These are the Kits World masks for this Lancaster for the windows. I wish Sven would do window masks, because they'd be the best window mask you could get. And these are actually vinyl, and a lot of you replied you don't like vinyl. So I don't know. Somebody else has said there's Guy has sent me an email showing me another version you can get, which look very, very similar to these masks, but they're actually in Kubaki tape. So there we go. Right, so I have now received another envelope from Sven at One Man Army, and this time we have 3 sets of masks in the one envelope. So let's get out and buy these now, guys. So we're going to have a quick look through all these, and then at the end of it, well, after I've done the review, we're going to actually do a test to see how they work. I've got my old Heinkel 111 wing here. So we've got some different shades and we've got some different finishes and that we can try them on. So we'll have a go at the bigger sort of livery, and we'll also have a good look. This is mainly concentrating on how these stencil masks work, because they look to be quite tricky and quite easily mess upable. We shall see. But anyway, so what I've got here to look at today is the Spitfire Mark 9 in 32nd scale. And I'm assuming, because he hasn't said a particular kit, I'm assuming these can be used on the Tamiya or the Revell kits. For the Mark 9. We also have here the HO229 from Tsukimura. I have this kit, and these again are the 32nd scale ones, and they look very, very nice indeed. And then here we have the Heinkel 219 Yoo-Hoo for the Revell kit. Now, you may have the Revell kit, you may have the Tsukimura kit. I did speak to Sven, and he said this is designed for the Revell kit, not Tsukimura. Now, I guess it's up to you, or I could perhaps test it out for you if you're interested. But he seems to think that the panels may be slightly different. So I know that the Yoo-Hoo that Revell make is a different mark than the Tsukimura one. I've got the Tsukimura right behind me here, and the Tsukimura is a A-O. I've got a feeling the Revell is an A-7, isn't it? Not sure what the difference is, but I could be completely wrong. Maybe the Revell is an AO. But anyway, so we'll have a look through these, see what you're getting in them, and then, and as I say, then we'll do some tests. So let me get these unpacked. You're going to watch me get these out of the envelopes, and then we'll have a good look what we got in there. Okay, so first of all, look at the Spitfire one. So as I say, this is basic markings and stencils for Spitfire Mark 9C. So I'm guessing it's for the Tamiya and the Revell kit. So you can see here we've got our main mask for our main roundels, and then the fuselage sides as well. We've got our registration letters on the side, and then we've got for both sides, and then we've got 2 lots of masks for the Canadian flag. Some say it was green, some say it was red. And then that one's for Johnny Johnson. Then we've also got these here for Spitfire Mark 9C 416 Squadron, Tangmere, England, May 1944. So we've got the port side fuselage and the starboard side fuselage, and there we've got the letters painted over the stencil, so that looks quite interesting. So we'll see how that look. And then we've also got miscellaneous stencils for the bombs. We've got all the stencils for the main aircraft as well, and then we've got the propeller stencils, and we've got the cockpit door stencils. So these stencils are going to be handy for whatever it is you're building. If you're not going to have bombs on your Spitfire, then put those in your spares box. They're going to be handy for some other stuff, especially if you can make them last more than once. Okay, so turning over on the front here, we can see we've got a lovely picture there of a Spitfire Mark 9. We've got some generic pictures here and a little sample of the instructions, and there's one of the stencil masks there. If you're wondering what the point of all this is, As we all know, many aircraft have many stencils on them, even back in World War II times, and quite often they are very difficult to get down without silvering and stuff, and you get the decal down and some decals are quite thick, and then you have to give them a clear coat to hide the decals and perhaps sand them back. With these, you're actually doing them as they were done on the real aircraft. You're making a mask, you're holding it over and you're spraying through it, which is exactly what they would have done on the real aircraft. So or even they would have brush painted through it. But you're basically having stencils to do your stencil work for you. So it's going to give you a very accurate look. So we can see on here we've got a nice little sheet of it's like kabuki tape. It's not vinyl, which I know will suit a lot of you, and it's got various, you can make it out on there. I'm guessing you can see the roundels here, okay, all across there, and then we'll also have some marked with an X, and on here I don't see any of the main roundels marked with an X. We have the three of the the codes there, EN398, so we'll have a spare one of those to play with. But then down here you can see the roundels for the actual sides of the fuselage, and it's going to tell you in here how to use them. So basically on the back here it will say you've got 3A for yellow, 3B for blue, 3C for white, and 3D for red. So we've got the can't see the 3. I think they mean 2. 2A red, 2A, unless there is a second sheet in here. Let's have a look. No, it's just the one sheet. I think they mean 2. So you'll put down the A first, okay, and then spray the yellow, and then you'll put down the 2B over that and spray the blue. Then you'll put down the 2C over that and spray the white, and then you put the 2D over that and spray the red, so you can see you're working way in. Or what you can do is put this one on with all the different rings on it, you can see there, and then peel the rings out and spray it as you wish. You can use them any way you want, but he's made it very easy for you to do this. Basically you'll put that on with transfer tape, pull the transfer tape off and bring all the inside out to just leave the circle, spray the yellow, then put that one on, spray the blue, that's going to mask the yellow, then put that one on, spray the white, and then put that one on, spray the red. So as you can see, it's working its way down, and the same with the main roundels there. So you've got the first one you're going to put down and spray the blue, okay, and then you're going to put that one down. Sorry, you're going to put that one down and spray. So you just put that one down and spray the red, and then you put that one down and spray the blue. You've got the wrong way around on there. You know, you can do it any way you want, but the way they're made is so the outline is absolutely perfect, so you don't have to try and centralize that circle inside that one, and you can hardly see what I'm looking at. You don't have to put the smaller circle in the middle. You can actually line up the outer corners and it will be bang smack in the middle. And you can also see with the stencils, if I get a light source, you can see that the actual stencils are already cut through for you. Even the tiny ones here, you can see they're all cut through. So it's just going to be a case of peeling them off and sticking them down and using them as masks. Now, I am told that the way to put these down is to put a piece of paper over the top and rub them down so they're nice and firm. If you try and rub them down as they are, you're likely to rip the insides out, because you can imagine, you know, if you've got some tiny little letters in there, like the centre of an S or the centre of a P, it's just going to pull out easily. So put a piece of paper over the top and then rub them. But we're going to be doing that at the end of this video. So this is for the, as I say, for the Spitfire, and we've got all our stencil markings here, all marked out. You've got the lines there. You may choose to spray them black first and then use the masks before you put your camouflage on, rather than using a mask to make, you know, to make the lines. And then obviously all the stencils. Something I did like very much I saw on here was, if you look at this one here, I don't know if you're going to be able to see it, but number 25, we're looking here, okay? We're looking there, and the number 25 is actually made like a sort of keyhole, and the reason being, you can center the stencil over the circular panel, and you've got the tab on the side to be able to lift it off with. I thought it was a fantastic idea. And then when you spray, you'll obviously mask around it with tape, and then when you spray your stencil through, it will be dead in the middle of the panel. Or, you know, it doesn't need to be perfect. They probably weren't perfect. They were probably all over the place, truth be known. And you can see here we've got these little M's all over the place, and then we've got all the weights and everything, WTs. So yeah, very, very handy. I'm not sure what all these codes stand for, but I'm sure someone will tell me. And then we've got the trestle mountings there, and you can see here we've got location for wingtip steadying trestle. You can see that there, and you can see my finger through it. It's already all cut out. We need to pop out the lines. I'm not sure, but when we lift the mask, I think maybe those little lines are going to pop out. Let's have a look. Yes, so when we lift the mask, as you can see there, although those little lines, the dotted lines, are actually already in there, here, we can see that as I lift the mask, they stay on the paper. So absolutely incredible. So they're to be treated with the utmost respect for what they are, these. And then you can see on here we can put the A on for the flag, for the maple leaf. We can put the A on, okay, pull all the innards out with the transfer tape, and then put the B on, yeah, to spray the actual the colour in the centre, whether it be red or green. But that's what you can basically see there. With every set, I won't go through this on all 3 sets, but you get this user manual which is generic, and it's telling you, it's starting off with thanking you for buying it, and it's telling you a load of hints and tips on how to use them. I went through this before in detail on the Lancaster one. I'll hold that there so you can have a read if you want to. You can sort of freeze frame and read it as you wish, but there's a lot of special instructions on how to use them. Obviously following the instructions is going to be crucial for getting a good result. Okay, so there we go, that's the set for the Spitfire. So we'll whip through the other 2 now. So second on the list is our 229. This is the Horton Ho 229 for Zucchimura. Again, we've got generic pictures on the front here. We've got a sample from the instructions. This looks very interesting here. We've got 3 decals to make up these little fuel signs. And on the back here you can see we've got choices of flashes. We've got the mask falling out. We've got choices of flashes on here. So you can have the cross, which is just the black lines. You can have the cross with the white surrounding lines, and then you can have just the white surrounding lines. So you're getting the options for all of that. We've got 3 different options here. So we've got red 13, white 14 and blue 4. So we have, do you have an outline on there? Weed center and small contour, use transfer tape removing sheet, position on model, paint blue, reposition center by hand using magnifier and light, paint the small contour black, dark grey. So we do have we have a spare 13 to play with as well. So there we've got 13, 14 and 4. We also have underside and top side of both wings. We have engine covers. You also get those, I'm not going to say the word, but you know what I mean, the German crosses that can be offensive for some people. And you've got the ones there with you've got the full black, you've got the black and white with the black sort of centre bit missing. So very interesting, and all the decals are in here, the masks are in here. No maintenance instructions, Stencil or other on the V3. So check your references. But there you can see you have T240, both engine covers, weed and use transfer tape. So special instructions for everything. So read all the special instructions, read your general instructions, and then go for it. And as I say, we're getting spare masks. So we can see here there's the small sheet, got it upside down and done monkey style. And you can see on there you have the crosses, and you have that one with the white bands, you have that one with just the black centre. Okay, so you're on them. So you've got those to play with. And we also have one large sheet here, again, with all the stencils pre-cut out, pre-holed. Well, they're saying that, I don't think there are any here. There aren't any that are pre-holed. They're all like a single cut mask, not cut right through. But we can see the tiny little dash lines there for our wing markings and everything. We got all our 13s and 14s. And again, where you see this 13 here has an X. You can see that X in the lower left corner. Same over here, you can see it's a spare. So that's what you play with first. And then down here you can see we have those interesting shapes that we mentioned just now. Here again we have a lot of stencils. Here we have larger of those interesting shapes that I mentioned just now. So there you go. So you'd put that one down first, spray it white, and then put that one down and spray it black, I'm guessing. We have here the massive wing walk marking, all dotted lines, and there's some quite complex instructions in here telling you how to use it. I'm not sure I fully understand, but I'd have to have the kit in front of me to make it out. But basically you can see what you get in there, lots and lots of stencils. And something I do want to try, and I probably will try in a minute, these fuel markings, Schmierstoff, and you have white, yellow and then black, and you can see here we have the triangle, you have the large triangle, so you spray it white, then you put that one over the top and spray it yellow, and then you put that one over the top and spray it black to get your sign, which is like that one you can see there on the B4, which is that fuel marking, which I think is going to look absolutely amazing if we can pull it off, but we'll give that a go, I think, in this video. And then you can see here with our instructions, we've got all our hatch lines for the wing walk markings and everything. There's that main wing walk marking, you can have a read of that. Let's see if you can make head nor tail of it, because I'm not quite sure I fully understand. And then we've got the near here bit Tretton, I'm thinking that's don't walk outside this line. So we've got markers on those as well, which I thought was very... This is the thing, you see, Sven is a modeler himself, so these are accessories made by a modeler for modelers. They're not just a company, you know, making their business model better. And you can see on here, on these Note 15, where you've got the walking markings, they've got dashes on the bottom of them, and those dashes on the bottom will line up with the dashes you've previously painted, and then you'll cover them up, obviously, and spray. So you have lots of bits of spare masking tape to play with. So you can see there, that's what you're getting with that one. And then again we have the general instructions as I showed you just now. So they're very nice indeed. And then finally for this review we have the Heinkel 219 Yoo-Hoo. As I say, for the Revell kit, I don't see why you couldn't use it on the Zucchimura kit. I would imagine with German aircraft of World War II, the stencils are pretty generic anyway. I'm doing a monkey again, showing you upside down. But here again you can see we've got the German crosses, again with and without the bands. So you'll basically put this one down first, pick all the inside out, and then put that one on top of it and spray it black. So in fact I would be tempted to spray the big large area black. Sorry, yeah, you put that in black and then you put that in and spray white, because black is the best colour primer for white in my opinion. And then you've got all these here which are just a single cross. Sorry, I didn't look at the back of this one, did I? So we have here, this is what we've got, the black and white cross and the plain black cross, and then we've got the hollow cross there, which we can use to our heart's content. We've got the fuselage sides here, we've got that funny shape on the tail, and then we've got here the spiral for the propeller spinner. So you're going to put that round and spray it black, I'm guessing. Yeah, so you spray your spinner white, then put that round and spray it black. Although it's saying here white, so I don't really know. I think I've got that the wrong way around. And then here we've got the MK, G9 MK. So that's an A2, that's an AO, and that's an A5. So again, I think in different variants, I'm not sure what the changes were, but they must be fairly small. So we've got DB, which is work number 420331. We've got FK, which is work number 190012, and MK, which is work number 290010. So you can see there we've got G9MK, G9FK, G9DB. So pretty cool. As I say, again, we've got the generic instructions. And then here's the second sheet. And you can see on here we've got the crosses for the fuselage sides. Okay, in whichever style you want. And then you've got all of your stencil decals, which again aren't actually right through the paper. So maybe he's changed his production, not cutting them right through. But we can see on here the amount of masks you get in are absolutely incredible. Really, really nice. There's those spinner masks there, which are going to be a right old handful to get on, I should imagine. You've got a spare one of those. You've got a spare one of those funny shapes there. And you don't have any spare serial numbers. You don't have any spare letters. But you do have spare spinner, spare thingy shape there. You've got spare crosses, and there's some spare stencils to play with there so you can practice with. And then again, we got the same system for the fuel. We have the large triangle, then the smaller triangle, and then the black in the center. So all very nice indeed. And you can see here, not that many stencils on this one, but we do have the red dotted lines, and they're all included in there as well. As you can see here, we have all the red dotted lines. So yeah, incredible. And if you could make these masks peel off, you could use them again on your other kits, because red dotted lines are red dotted lines after all. So be interesting to see if we can make them go again, but we'll give that a go in a minute. So there we go. So that's been the review of those three. So that's the Heinkel 219 for the Revell kit, the HO 229 Horton for the Zucchimura kit, all in 32nd scale, and the Spitfire Mark 9C. And as I say, I'm assuming that's Tamiya and Revell. I'm finding myself, I'm going to have to get another Tamiya Mark 9C, because I've got so many extras now that have come through the post for it. I really should build another one. So we shall see. But he's actually working, in case you're wondering, he is actually working on a set of masks right now for the 24th scale Spitfire. So they should be along soon. And as soon as they do turn up, I will have them. And hopefully, and I very much doubt it, but they might turn up before I'm ready to paint mine. We shall see. So anyway, that's been long enough. What have we been? Sort of 20 minutes or whatever. So what we're going to have to do now is actually have a go at using these things and see how we get on. So as I say, I've got my wing here from my Heinkel 111, which I use for all sorts. You can see here we've done some mottling effects. But we've got like a glossy finish on there. We've got a dead matte finish on here, so we can have a little play. And being a Heinkel 111, I think we'll have a go at one of those German crosses, and we'll have a go at doing one of those fuel filler marks as well. I think that'll be interesting. I won't bother putting it on these panels, because that's just adding to it. I'll put it in the middle of a panel next to it or something, and we'll have a little play. Right, see you in a minute. Right, so if you've only just joined me and you haven't bothered watching the review that I've just done as part of this video, I've basically reviewed three sets, as you know: Spitfire, the Heinkel 219, and the Horton 229. So basically I'm going to use the spare stencils from, or spare masks from this set, because I only have one of these kits. The others I have more than one of, so I want to be able to use the spares as much as I can on them. So I've had a quick look through the user manual here. There's lots of very, very good hints and tips in here, and I would like to say before I start doing this video, I have had no practice of this whatsoever. You can see the sheets are complete. I've had no practice whatsoever, so this is not a video all about how to do this. This is a video sort of just like Jason says over at Model Kit Stuff. This is my first impressions. So we'll see how we go, and then if we make mistakes, you'll see that I've made mistakes. You'll see what I've done to make those mistakes, so you know not to do them. And then by the time we come around to doing the Lancaster, which will be not long now at all, I will have kind of had some more practice and perhaps perfected it, and then I can show you how I do this or how I use them or whatever. But as I say, this is like a sort of learning curve for both of us, and I guess I should really be doing this live so we can get some interaction, but you'll get so many different opinions telling me to try this, try that, it'll become stressful. So what we're going to do today is have a little experiment. So I'm going to do the spare number 13, and what they're telling us to do on there is weed the center and the small contour, use transfer tape when removing from sheet, position on model, paint red, reposition the center by hand using magnifier and light, paint the small color black, the small contour black, dark gray. So my intention is on here is to come under here with a magnifier and weed the frame around the 13, then put transfer tape on it, and we're going to take it off, place it on the model, and then remove the 1 and the 3, so we've only got the outline. And then we're going to spray the red, sorry, and then we're going to put the center back in, the 1 and the 3, and then paint the grey. So that'll be one thing we're going to do there. We're also going to have a go at doing these crosses. So we've got, I don't have any spares of those, so I may not actually do them. So we'll see. I may actually do one of these, we'll see. But the other one I want to do is this circular mark around one of these fuel ports here, or around a maintenance port, whatever it is, and also do one of these fuel filler ones. And we've got some spares down here that I can use on there. So the tools I'm going to use, first of all, I've got a knife with a brand new sharp blade in it for weeding and stuff, which will be really handy. And I've got these brand new tweezers which I haven't tried yet. These are the Anise from this company here, anise.io. There you go, www.anise.io. I've reviewed these, I haven't used them yet, but they are super precision tweezers, AN059, and they've got a very, very sharp point on them, so they're going to be really handy for this. I've picked up a few bits and pieces and tips of what Sven has said in the instructions, and one of the main things I've picked up on is to have some spare bits of masking tape, so that when you peel the mask away from the model, away from the sheet, like I'm doing here, okay, what we do is lift it with the tweezers, okay, and then we're going to get a piece of masking tape, which I've got here on this cutting mat, and just stick a piece of masking tape under it, just like so, on the back of it, just like that. Give it a little squeeze together, okay, and now what we've got, when we put that down, that corner will stay raised, and then we can remove it easily from the model, because remember, we'd be doing it on a model that's all been painted and camouflaged and beautifully done, and we don't want to scratch the paint, so doing that allows us to lift it off. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll take this one off first of all. Sorry, the next thing I need to do is get my alignment and where it's going to go. So if this was the proper model, I would be following his instructions here, and I would be putting tape down and then putting a line as to where these stencils are going to go. Now obviously on here I'm not going to do that because I don't have to worry about the position. This is just a test of the masks, not a test of my method. So I'm going to take this off, okay, and you can see it leaves the triangle behind, and I'm going to put this on here in line with those rivets there, okay. So we'll put that masking tape down on there. Now the one thing it says is do not use, don't rub the mask with your finger. Put a piece of paper over the top, rub the paper just to get the mask to go down, and that way you haven't got any risk of lifting any corners or anything, okay. So that's now ready to spray yellow. So the other thing I'm going to do is get some bits of masking tape and put around there. I might even get a piece of paper, cut a hole in the centre of it just to cover that up, and then we can put that over and spray each time we do the different masks. So that's going to be our first one, which is actually telling us in here the first one is going to be white. So we're going to spray that white when we're ready. The other one we're going to do, as I say, is this 13. So what I've got to do, I'm trying to do this on camera. I would normally do this flat down on the bed. In fact, let's zoom you in, and we will do it flat down on the bed, and we'll see how we go. Right. So I've got the spare one here, so what I've got to do is pick out this little border around there. Here we go, we'll pull that out. How fine is that? That is unbelievably fine. Incredible, absolutely incredible. Right, and then we'll do the same on the 3. As I say, you can see down in the bottom left hand corner here I've got an X. So we can pull that out of there. That is unbelievably easy to get out. I have never seen masking tape with such a precise cut. You can see what's come off of there on my thumb. It's like nothing. It's like fluff. It's unbelievable. And these tweezers are really, really proving their value. Now I must keep these for the masking. I've got tweezers that I keep for decals. Come off my finger, come on, there we go, right. So we get all that off, I've just put it back on my finger again now. So we get that off. Right, so now what we've got to do is use transfer tape. So transfer tape is low tack masking tape. Now I've got this stuff here, which is, this one's high adhesion, and I've got this one here which is low adhesion. Okay, so we could use that, but it's not wide enough. So what I'm going to do is get a piece of Tamiya tape, okay, which is probably, that's also too wide. So I'm going to stick that here on my cutting mat. You don't need to have this, you could just use an ordinary rule and cut it. So I'm going to take a rule and I'm going to see how wide this is, because I want to be able to see the edge. So it's 16 millimeters wide nearly, so I'm going to cut it about 15. Okay, so I'm going to take, you don't need to do this, as I say, this is just me fussing and faffing. Okay, And then I'm going to cut something which is about 15mm wide. As I say, with these cutting mats, you can't just count 15, it won't be 15. So there we go, that'll be just over 15. Okay, so that's that, that can come off of there. And then I'm going to cut the end off here. Cut the end off there, there we go. And then it's roughly 15mm square, so we go 5, 10, 15. So there we have a 15mm square. So I'm going to peel that off of there. I'm going to grab my normal wider tweezers because we don't need precision for this. And then I'm going to stick this on the side of my hand there. Rub it on. Lift it off. Stick it down again. Using on my side, look back here, there's loads of hair. There's not so much hair on the side. Okay. So that's now de-tacked that, so it's not so sticky. So now I can put this over that transfer. Can you still see what I'm doing? I can put this over that transfer. What we need is we need some Ron. We need some Ron photography here because his photography with his macro and everything is absolutely super precise. Okay, so that's gone over there like that now. Alright, so we push that down. I'm going to lift this corner. Lift this lower left hand corner up and then get a little piece of my scrap masking tape off my mat, and I'm going to put that under there just like so. So now I have a corner to lift with. So when I lift this up with my precision tweezers, you can see the 1 and the 3 is staying behind. Okay, now the transfer tape is there, it's keeping it in shape. If I didn't have the transfer tape there, you can imagine that centre piece there in the 3 would be flapping about everywhere, so it's kept it in shape. So what I can do now is put this 13, we'll put it here. Okay, no, we'll put it up here. Put it up here. And we'll put it parallel. Now you can see the reasons I've left the tape visible. I want it square to that panel line. Just like so. I can push that down. Because we've got transfer tape on there, I can rub it. Okay, and then I can peel the transfer tape off of the mask. And I can put that back down on there like so. That'll be ready to lift those masks off when we need to. Okay, so there we go, so that's there. I'm going to put a piece of paper over it. And give it a good old rub so it's nice and firmly down. So we're ready now to paint that one, and we can paint that one in the red when we got the red mixed up. And then the final one I was going to do, wasn't it, was one of these here. Now these here are actually circle masks to go around those circular panels. Okay, I'm going to zoom out a bit here because I keep going off screen, I think. So what it tells us to do here, if you look here, it's an optional mask. And it's telling us start with positioning the small centre on the model. Now place the main mask around the small centre. He is so thoughtful, because obviously when you come to put your mask down, you won't be able to see where the circle is. So if you take the small centre out of here and just pop that down in there, okay, we should be able to nudge this around so it's visually in the centre of that panel. And then once we've got that so we know it's in the centre, or near enough. I mean, the thing is, in reality it probably wouldn't have been perfect anyway. So I'm just going to put a piece of red paper over that and rub it so that I don't pull it out of place. And I reckon that's about in the centre there, yeah? Yeah, in the centre of that panel. So now, I'm not sure if we should use, it doesn't say to use transfer tape, so let's have a go of it without using transfer tape. First things first, lift this corner, grab a piece of masking tape. Wow, these tweezers are good. Grab a piece of masking tape and stick it on the back there, just like so. Okay, and then what we can do is come along with a show you a pair of small scissors, but I don't have any to hand. I'm just going to remove that excess of tape there with my Tamiya cutters. There we go. Okay, so now we should be able to lift that off. Now he doesn't say to use transfer tape, so let's see how we go. Okay, that's fine. So now we can position this, and we can put it where we want to, depending where we want the demarcations to come, because the lines to come, split it. So I'm going to put it like this so it's square. Okay, and I'm going to find that center pot. Alright, now I've just removed that bit of tape that I put on there here. So I'm going to stick that back under. Doing this sort of stuff on camera is a nightmare, because if I'm close enough that you can really see what I'm doing, then I've got that slightly out of position. Now let's see if we can get away with lifting this off. I haven't pushed it down. We can see how well they go down, and I don't think this is going to want to come off, because I think I may have pushed it down with my thumb when I pushed it down. I'll tell you what, if I put a piece of transfer tape on there, I'm glad this has happened actually, because I've done something wrong, so we're going to see what happens. So I'm going to put a piece of Tamiya tape on there. It will hopefully help this come away in one. There we go. That's been a success. I believe that's been a success. So now I should be able to see through the Tamiya tape. Let's get the tweezers. No, I can't see through it. So can I actually now peel this away from the Tamiya tape? Now this is not the correct way to use these guys, okay? So stop your criticisms on the keyboard. I'm glad this has happened anyway, because it's going to show you what you can and can't get away with. There we go. Oops, shouldn't have dropped it, should I? So now it's that way round, it's sticky on that side, so we can put this down again, we can position it. This is the problem with doing stuff on camera. This is why I'm making mistakes. I would normally be doing this under a magnifier. So I can position that over that center. There we go. So we've got that now positioned over that central circle. So now when we spray, we'll have a nice line around there. So again, put the paper over the top, rub it down, job done. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is mask up around here so that obviously we can paint, and then I'll come back. You don't need to see me do that, do you? Right, so let's zoom you back out here a minute. Let's get zoom you back out so you can see. Right, so what I've done here, we have the ring around the fuel filler there, or whatever it is. We have the 13 here, number 13, that's going to be in red, that's going to be in red. We have this fuel marker here, so that's initially going to be in white. And then down here I've added one I forgot to talk about. This is one of the stencils, and you can see how absolutely tiny that writing is. So that's 9 Auffassen or something. I'm guessing it's not push, because it goes on the back of the, it goes back here. It's number 7, and it goes on the trim tabs here. So I'm guessing that's don't push on them. So, and also on here, I don't know what they're for. Maybe Sven will comment. But on these here, you can see on these 7s and 8s, going across here, you can see that on the end, if I peel one up, you'll see what I mean. There is a cutout. If I peel that end up, you can see on the end of there, there's like a cutout in the centre, and it's on both ends. And I'm not sure what it's for. I'm guessing it's to allow you to align it straight. It's showing you either side the height of the text. So if it has to fit in between two loads of rivets or something, I guess that's what it's for. But let me know, Sven, if you look in what they're for. So that's on there all masked up. We've got the tape under the corner just like we did before. And I've got this. This is the cheap frog tape that you can get if you're in the UK. It's on Amazon. It's absolutely brilliant stuff. I think it's very similar to this. It's quite a low tack. It's very similar to Tamiya tape. In fact, no, this is far tackier than that. So But it's great for doing masking like this. So I've masked around there, as you can see. Now this one here I'm going to have to remove, because what we're going to do to put the subsequent masks on, so we've got that one there, and then we're going to fit this one in and spray the yellow, and then that one in and spray the black. We're going to line the outside edges up perfectly and spray them on, so and put them on. So there we go. For the paint, I'm going to use LP paints. Now the reason I'm using LP, they're my latest go-to favourite paint. The other reason I like them is they're not at all grainy. Now Tamiya, like for instance, if you're going to do the white and you're going to use Tamiya XF2, good luck with that. It's really, really grainy, and I think especially when you come to do fine stencils like this, the size of the grains are almost the size of the gaps in the tape, and I think you're going to end up with a very, very difficult to paint finish. So I would thoroughly recommend these, or indeed Mr. Hobby, or any sort of lacquer based paint that can be thinned, you know, very, very thin. I'm going to go like 70-80% thinners here to get the paint in there, and I'm also going to vary the angles to make sure I get in there, but I can't flood it, so it's going to be very, very difficult to do and get right. But I think once it's one of those things, that's why it gives you all the extras. Once you've practiced and got your hang of it, then I think you're going to be laughing. So obviously red there, white there, and black there. So what we'll do is we'll do the white first, and then while that's drying we can do the reds, okay, and then we can come back and do the yellow, and then come back and do the black. We'll fit the decals in, the mass in there, and then we can do the black around the edge of there. We can do the black for the lettering in there, and the black for that stencil. So it's going to take me quite a few hours, because I've got to let the paint dry in between. But for all intents and purposes of the video, it's probably going to be just a few minutes, and then we're going to mask it and see what it looks like. And so we have Tamiya LP4 flat white mixed with Mr. Colour Leavening thinners, and it's roughly 80% thinners. So we can see here the paint is very, very thin. When I pour it down the side, it's very translucent looking through the side of the cup. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to test a little spray here off camera. Okay, I've got the airbrush wound down to about 12 psi, so it's quite a low pressure. Now what I want to do is just do a little test piece here first on this masking tape, so that's fine. So what we're going to do, I'm going to put a little bit of white down underneath here for the red to sit on, because red is a very translucent colour, and if you put some white and preferably yellow under it, you'll get a very, very nice colour red. In fact, I may well do that. I may well do this white, and then we'll do the yellow next, and at that time I can undercoat that with yellow. So what we're going to do is this little triangle here. So I'm spraying directly at the mask. I'm not going to go into the corners and stuff. I'm just going to spray directly at the mask initially and try to get some white colour in there. You can see it's building up very, very slowly. Okay, now the camera is showing out. I can hardly see any white on there. The camera makes it look like a big white blob. But, I'm just going to build the paint up very slowly, because I don't want it to creep. If I flood it, it's just going to creep under the tape probably. So I'm just going to very lightly just get that coloured in. And you can see Tamiya LP white is one of the best whites out there. It's not grainy, it's not gritty. It goes down beautifully even though it's thinned to within an inch of its life. So I'm just going to get some more down like that, and this is going to be the border, so it's the edges here that are important. So now that I've got a sealing coat on there, I can afford to come in from the angles and then get into the corners of the tape, just like so. Okay, and I'm just going to check my flow on here. So maybe getting a bit of tip dry because I'm so laid back with the paint. You know, I think I had a little blockage. It's just cleared. There we go. So that's our white down on there. Okay. So we'll do some white on here. Just get some white on here. Just basically just to get a bit of a background for the red to go on to. And same on here. In fact, I think what I should do is get a little piece of masking tape. We'll get a little square of masking tape, and I think we'll block off that center pit because we're going to see that center otherwise. So we'll cover up that little center, because if we didn't have it absolutely perfectly aligned, we'll get a witness of paint around there. So just check our flow once again on a bit of masking tape. There we go, and we can spray that now. And I just want to get some white on there, and you can see building up very, very slowly. so as not to risk flooding anything. Same on there now, get some white down on there. Just for a bit of luck, we'll get a bit more white down on there. Okay, and I'm going to come in from the angles just to make sure we're getting into the tape, because remember, with that tape having such a tiny gap in it, you know, it's going to be very easy for the paint to just blow back out, which is why I've lowered the pressure. You can see the white building up on there now. As he says in his instructions, don't be scared to completely colour the mask. As I say, this is only an undercoat for what's coming after. Okay, so we're going to let that dry, and then we can remove this masking here and put our next one down for our yellow triangle within a white border. Okay, so while I've been off camera, I've done another one of these here, and I need to actually mask around it, don't I? I've done another one of those there because looking at this, I think I may have distorted it when I ripped it off. So it'd be good to see actually what we can and can't get away with, which is the whole purpose of this video, is to show you what can and can't be done. As I say, I'm kind of glad I cocked up in a way, because it will show you, if you cock up, what you can and can't get away with. So there we go. And bearing in mind, I still haven't used a single mask that's good. I could still build my Horton and have all the masks I need. There's loads more X's on here that I can still use. So there we go. Right, so we've got that mask, stuff like that. So the next thing I'm going to do now is this bottom one here. So if you remember, I said I've cut this piece of masking tape, I've put a hole in it. I don't need the fine ones for that. What I've done is cut a hole in it so I can peel this one away and leave the original mask behind, and then I can take this one off of here. Now I'm not going to bother putting a piece of masking tape under that corner. In fact, yeah, I will. Let's get a piece of masking tape. Let's see if we can get these off and reuse them. That's something I'm going to be very interested to see. I don't think you're going to be able to reuse the stencils because they're so fine they're going to get destroyed. So we'll put a piece of tape under here. And then we're going to take this off of here, and we're going to put this on top of the original one so it perfectly lines up on the outside edges. Yeah, I'm going to have to do this off camera, guys, because I can't see what I'm doing. I need better light on my magnifier, so I'm going to do that off camera, and then I'll come back and I'll show you as soon as I've done it. Okay, so I think I've got that right. Of course, the other way you could do this if you wanted to is come along with other pieces of masking tape, lay them down, butt it up to the edge, and then you could remove the first one and put the second one down into the same place. You could have another piece of masking tape there, so you actually make the rectangular shape and then lay the new masking tape down and into the old recess, if you like. But I'm doing it this way because this is the way he suggests in the instructions, so I don't want to change anything. But if we find that we get bleed under here because we've got one layer of masking tape on top of the other and it can't sort of get down in, then what we'll do is we will actually try that on another video. We will try doing them with actually masking around perfectly, and then remove it and lay the next one down in the masking, in the hole that you've left behind, if you like. So we'll see how that works out perhaps. So so that's down like that now. So that's ready. That's ready for the yellow. We're going to give that a blast of yellow, we're going to give that a blast of yellow, and that a blast of yellow. So I'm going to mix some paint up and then I'll come back. Okay, so here we have the LP8 yellow, and it is mixed very, very thin. It's probably 85% thinners, because I just want to stain it rather than actually paint it. And I'm going to just do this at 90 degrees because I fear that masking tape is probably going to be slightly raised because it's on top of another piece of masking tape, and the hole now is actually only slightly smaller. So we'll just do a little tester, piece of paper, and as you can see, it's barely colouring the paper. It's LP8 is a very thin paint anyway, so we're just going to spray in there and just completely cover that area in yellow. We'll do the same here. Get some yellow on there, and I'm doing this yellow because it's the perfect undercoat for red. We'll do some on there as well. As I say, I'm going to keep this at 90 degrees And I'm not going to let it get wet. It is a gloss paint, so it looks wet. It's not. It's actually a gloss paint, so that's why it looks wet. Just do a tester again, in case we've got any tip dry. We shouldn't have. Let's get some more yellow down on there. Let's get some more down on here. Get some on there. Get some on there. Get some more in there. Okay, so I'm going to let that dry and then put another coat down. I don't think you need to see me do that, but I'm just going to let it settle and then build it up. Okay, so now we have LP7. Again, thinned within an inch of its life, about 80% thinners. Just for a quick little test spray, you can see how thin that is. Again, very low pressure. I've put a little square masking tape over there so we don't get any overspray in there, because the yellow, we want to see how good that yellow-white sort of definition is, and we'll see that in a minute. So this has been about 20 minutes and that's sort of tacked off now. It's pretty dry. So I just want to come along and just get some red down on there, and you will see, in fact, I've got a piece of fluff under there already. I've got some dust. I'm just going to get that out. So I just want to just basically get some colour in there. I guess the edges don't matter on that one because we're going to be spraying them black, aren't we? But just slowly build the colour up. Don't want to flood it, don't want to get it wet. Of course, another advantage with using these things is if you have decals that are the wrong shade, which they often are, then you can, with these, you can get the right shade that you want. You can have the right dark crimson or whatever instead of the bright red that Revell have given you, for example. You know, and if you want to have a faded look, you can have a faded look. You can sand them down, you can, you know, chip them, whatever. I know you can do all that with decals, but they never quite chip the same as paint does. Get some red on there. Bit too much. And I think with these I am going to go at an angle because I want to make sure I get the paint to go into all the nooks and crannies. Just get some more red on there. You can see what a vibrant red you get because we've got the yellow and the white underneath. You get this beautiful vibrant red colour. Okay, so just coming across onto the masking tape to check the flow. I'm just going to go around those circles on all the angles just to see how it comes out. I'm not sure how good it's going to be because these are obviously designed for a slightly smaller panel than we've got here, so it may be that the red is right on the edge, but we shall see. I just wanted to show you basically the concept of the brilliant idea of having that dot in the centre to pick up on, which I thought was a brilliant idea. So looking at the angles, and we can see, if you look in an angle there, I don't know if you can see it, but on that bit there we can still see the grey paint underneath, so I'm just going to come in and just get some red into there. Remember guys, this video is not about my techniques. This video is about what we can get away with these masks, how to use them, how good they are, how bad they are, or whatever. Okay, so I've gone a bit heavy there, so if we get any creep, we'll see it, that'll be good. So I'm going to let that dry for a good half an hour because we've got to mask that up to go around with the black. We've got to mask that up to go around with the black, so I want to make sure that all the paint is good and dry. I'll see you in a second. Okay, so there we go, we're all done, that's all dry now. So we're ready now to do the black on here. So the first thing we're going to do is remove this piece of masking tape that I made up to expose those under there. And then we're going to come along to our sheet and we're going to lift the bottom left corner. We're going to grab a small piece of masking tape to go under to make it easier to lift. Just just like so. Put that under there, push down. There we go. We've got that piece of tape under there now. So we're going to put this down over the top. Now, what I was thinking, we have here 2 layers of masking tape, and I'm going to put a third one on. So it's now that piece has now got to squeeze down into the cavity, if you like, left by 2 pieces of masking tape. So what I think I would probably do here is remove this second layer, put that back on the paper, and then put the third layer down on top of the first layer. But I'm going to do it as instructed to see how it works. And if we get loads of creep underneath, we can just check to see that we have actually got all the tape out of there. If we get loads of creep underneath, then what we can do is try it again with what I've just suggested. So what I'm going to do is put this corner down first. I really need to do this under a magnifier, but I'm going to try and do it without. And then with just that corner down, we can move it all around, just like so, and get it to go down exactly on top of the other one, so we get the there we go, that's exactly right, so we can get the pattern exactly how we want it. Put the piece of paper over the top, rub it down nice and firm, and we can see that masking tape now has to go right down into that divot. So I'm even going to get the back of my tweezers here, and I'm going to push down. Now we can see that has gone right down in. Now I can't see how this is going to work, but we shall see. If it does work, I'll be amazed, but I'd be very tempted to remove the first piece. In fact, if I do this again, what I will do is make up the frame like I said, and then have 1 piece of masking tape at a time, because these 3 pieces of masking tape in such a small area, you know, if it's big like this, it's okay because it's just got to blend down in, but here, you know, you've got like a 3mm triangle, and we're trying to get it all to go down in. So, but you can see there, if I catch it in the light, you can probably see that it's actually gone concave in there now. So that's what we want. So we'll see if it works. Up here we've got to fish out the 1 and the 3 and put them over the top. Now I'm going to need my magnifier for that, so I'll do that off camera. And also I'm not sure this paint is actually dry enough yet to withstand the masking, but we shall see. So I'm going to put this over here, like so, cover that in, okay. And then I'm going to get my black paint, and this is the Tamiya LP3 flat black, and I've mixed it. This is pre-mixed in the jar, this one. I've put an extra little drop of thinners in there, just to a little tester. See there, we've got a nice little bit of paint coming out, so I'm just going to push that tape down, and then here I'm just going to spray this right on the top and let it build up. Do the same on here. Go in on the angles to make sure we get into all the nooks and crannies, because you can imagine if you've got an eye with a dot on the top, if you're spraying straight down in, it's going to be very difficult to get into that dot. So if you come in on the angles, you're sort of going to catch all the corners and everything, so it's going to give you that sharp lettering. So we'll just give it another quick coat on the angles, just like so. Do the same on here. As I say, I'm not convinced this is going to work on that one, but we shall see. So we can let that dry. What I'm going to do now is get this masked up, and then I'll spray that, and I'll show you how it looks when it's done. I'm not sure if that is actually dry enough yet to take the masking tape without just peeling it all off when it's done. So as instructed, I've taken the 1 and the 3, and I've put them in there and laid them evenly, as evenly as I could see anyway, to get the black border. Now I've had a bit of fluff on this top corner here, top corner of the 1, so I'm wondering how that's going to look when it's all done. I'm just going to grab my airbrush, just check the flow with the black. Yep, we're good. And I'm just going to spray around here, let this build up. Now I've got a feeling when I peel this off it's going to peel the paint off underneath, but that is nothing to do with the masks, that is me rushing. So again, I'm going to come in the angles to make sure we get into all the corners and nooks and crannies, and make sure we get a nice square even finish to it all. We shouldn't get any creep because the paint application is so light, but you can see there now we have the the 13 is now in black. So we're going to let all this dry and then we'll start doing some unmasking. I'll see you in a minute. Right, so here we go. How does it look? So there's our masking tape there. Now I would suggest to you, if you're doing this on your mod and you're doing this, the upper wing and then doing the lower wing, just, you know, this masking tape, rather than throw it away, you may as well just stick it on the side of your bench and reuse it, because you know, why throw it away? It's perfectly good and reusable, so no need to waste it. So we can get all this masking tape off. In fact, I'll do this off camera. You don't need to see me taking all this off, do you? Okay, so it's the moment of truth. So let's zoom you in a bit and try and keep you in frame this time. So the moment of truth has come. We're going to do some unmasking, and then what I'm going to do at the end of this video, just do a summary of where we are, what I think I've done wrong, what I think I've done right, and also give a chance for you guys to comment below. You know, tell me what you think if you've used these. I know some of you are going to think, what a load of faff just for some stencils, but if this works out and they look absolutely amazing, which I think they will, it's going to be so much better than having a decal. So let's see what it's like. So first of all, let's do this one here. This is the one I messed up. Let's see how it looks. And as you can see, what Sven suggested is having this masking tape under the corner works extremely well. And I'm not going to use my precision tweezers. I'm just going to use my ordinary tweezers to lift this off of here. And we will see how it looked. And I was right. It looks like it has been distorted because I've pulled it all about. You can see it sort of distorted the shape. But we've got the red on there, and we can see that it's actually painted on. You know, people say for that painted on look. Well, I don't think there's anything more of a painted on look than a painted on look, if you know what I mean. So there you go, there's that right ring around there, and as you can see, the section here is narrower than it is over there, and I've pulled it all about because I pulled it about. So I'm glad I did this one. So this one should look a lot better. So it's very, very sticky tape. You can see I've got that one slightly off position, but you can see that on that one the actual red bands are much more even than they are on that one. So yeah, highly recommended, but unfortunately not reusable. You can see they're all pulled about and distorted, so unfortunately they're not going to be reusable. We'll get that little center piece off. There we go, that's that gone. Right, so let's have a look at this one. So we can peel the black away. Now I don't think, no, this isn't going to be reusable either, so that's that one done. Okay, and you can see there we've got the, now I've got my precision tweezers. I should be able to get under here and just peel this away. Now the evenness of the black line is nothing to do with the mask set. The evenness of the black line is me and how accurate I got it. That's not bad, but you can see here, and you have to ignore the gloss finish, that's me with the paint. And I've got the one slightly off to one side. As you can see there, that is very, very nice indeed. Much better than having a mask, a decal I mean. So there we are, we can see how lovely that is. I'm not sure how dry that is, but probably what I shouldn't have done is probably done the white and the yellow, because I think I've built it up. Got quite a layer, quite a thickness on there. I can feel it on there more than on that one as well. But I'm not sure if I come in with like a 1500 grit sponge, I should be able to blend that out. Oh, that's much better. That just removes the edges, but as you can see, because I've put the white and the yellow on, we've got the white edge appeared there. Okay, so that's one thing we've done wrong, is use the undercoat, so don't do that. Okay, so down here we've got this one, so we can remove the first layer. Now, it could be that this one would be reusable. Wow, unbelievable. I'm wondering if I could lay this back down on the sheet and make it reusable. I'll do that after. I'll tell you, I'll put them down here. I can do that after. You don't need to watch me do that. Now here we go. What's the? You can see on there at A3 in the center is stunning. Now we can lift up the second layer, and we should end up with a nice white border. And then we can remove the first layer, and we should end up with the white border that we can see in the grey in the background. Wow, this stuff really does stick down. Oh my, look at that. Wow. Now that is impressive. That is absolutely gorgeous. And then finally, this last one here. Oh yes. Oh yes. Look at that. I think what I'll do is do some photos so you can see just how nice they are. But, now that is the painted on look, as is that. So there we go. What I'll do is I'll do some photos and I'll put them at the end of the video. So what have we learned? These things are amazing. They're extremely sticky, so you need to be very, very careful. I'm not sure if you could get away with a little bit of moisture so you can position them and then push them down. I'm not sure if you get away with that because they are, at the end of the day, they are kabuki tape. We'll just try on here a bit of moisture. Let's make it a bit wetter than that. Yeah, see, they won't stick down once they're wet, so there we go. So you can't do the moisture thing, but they are very, very sticky, so you need to get them perfectly positioned, which is probably why he does his suggestions like this with the tape to align them and get them all squared up and everything. Certainly with this one here, that A3 looks very sharp. I'm going to have a look under my magnifier. Yeah, I'm looking at it now. I would certainly be tempted to take off the second layer of tape and just put the sort of third layer down on top of the first. But no, it's very, very nice indeed. And we've also learned that we can't sort of remove them and put them back down unless you don't mind having imperfections. I mean, here you can see that one's lovely. It's slightly off. That's my fault. That one's off because I've pulled it all around and it's deshaped it, deformed it. We've also learned not to use the undercoats, just go straight in with the red. And probably with this one, go in with the red and don't worry about coming into the corners, just get a soft edge because then you're going to put your numbers in there and you're going to go in with the black. So, you know, you pays your money, you takes your choice. This here is just stunning. I'm going to look through my magnifier. I can actually read it and it actually looks, I'm looking through a 10 times magnifier, and you can actually see it, it's painted on, it looks like the real thing. Obviously no carrier film, so now I can sand that if I want to and sort of wear it out a bit, wear it down, and of course, you know, I could use a dark grey or whatever colour I want because I'm now not restricted to the colour that they give me in the decals. And as we all know, you know, decal stencils are a bloody nightmare, and I'm certainly looking forward to the 24 scale Spitfire. I'm kind of tempted to hang off on mine and wait until the stencils are ready to use on there because that is gorgeous. And you can see after I've sanded it, it looks even more realistic because we have that sort of faded look. It looks like it's painted on. It's absolutely gorgeous. So I'm going to do some photographs of this. As I say, please leave your comments down below on what your thoughts are, and we'll go from there. So thanks for watching. Bye for now, and I'll see you all soon for another one.